Ever since I was a little kid, I thought it would be awesome to be Iron Man, which is why I'm doing this short 3-part series on how to build a robotic arm that can be controlled by the movement of your hand. In today's video, part 1, I'm going to be showing you how to turn a glove into a motion controlled controller. Now this really is a super cheap project. All we're going to need is an Arduino, some duct tape, paper, pencil, tin foil, wire, breadboard, 5 330 ohm resistors, 5 4.7 kilo ohm resistors and 5 LEDs of any colour. Oh, and not forgetting of course the connector wires. Okay, so we're going to start off by laying 2 pieces of duct tape. These need to be long enough to go from the end of your finger to the top of your wrist, but I tend to make them a little bit longer anyway because you can always cut it down later. Now we're going to make 2 strips of tin foil. These need to be small enough to fit perfectly inside the duct tape. We want no overlap, and that is really important. Next up, we're going to prepare the wires. The wires need to be long enough to go from the hand to the breadboard. And when it comes to stripping them, you want one end to be stripped about 3 centimeters and the other end to be stripped just long enough to go inside the breadboard. Now I want you to take the longer piece of wire and stick that down to the tape. Once you've done this, we can cover that now in tin foil, again making sure that there is no overlap, and move on to the next stage, which is to cut out a piece of paper and cover it completely in pencil. If you can, make sure there are no blank spaces and you want to make the pencil covering as thick as possible. Once you've done one side, flip it over and do the other. So now we're going to put this thing together. Take the piece of paper and stick it onto one of the halves, making sure that no duct tape overlaps the sides of the paper. Now, take the other half of the sensor and stick that down too. Push that down, make sure that none of the wires and tinfoil is touching, and we are good to go. Now obviously you're going to want to repeat this 5 times. Once you've done that, take a load of duct tape, and this is what we're going to use to secure it to, in my case, a glove, but there is no reason why you can't do it to your bare hand. I'm sticking one piece of duct tape at the end of my finger and one at the base of my hand. Okay, and so with that, the glove is done. The wires are a bit messy, but we can tie those up later. But next up, we need to concentrate on the circuitry we're going to be using to actually make this thing work. Alright, the hardware for this project is again really simple. Take the sensor and connect one of the legs straight to ground. Now the other leg you want to connect to a potential divider. What this means is you want to take the 4.7 kilo ohm resistor and connect it to 5 volts and put this in parallel with the wire, which then goes to one of the analog pins. Now it really is important here that you use the analog pins. These are the pins in the bottom left hand corner of the Arduino that, well, start with A. Now completely separately to this, you want to take one of the LEDs and connect it to a normal pin via the 330 ohm resistor. The other leg can then go to ground. Although it is pretty simple, if you do this 5 times for each of the sensors, the circuitry can get really messy. So it is really important that you note down which pins correspond with which sensor and which LED corresponds with which sensor. So, now all we have to do is repeat this for all 5 sensors and we are good to go. Okay, so I'm going to quickly gloss over the code, but as always you can find a link to the download in the description with the code. It's all fully commented for you there. But for the meantime, all you need to know is that this bit and this bit are used to take the value from the sensor. This bit here is used to set up the LED, this bit and this bit to turn on and off the LED, and these if statements here are what we use to actually determine whether or not you're bending your hand. The only thing that you're going to change are the values in this if statement. These are going to be different for every single sensor, so every time you make a new sensor, you're going to want to test them. Now this is really easy to do. Again, at the bottom of this code, I've included a little bit to help you work out what you need to do. All you have to do is upload the code, go to Tools, Serial Monitor, and it will display it all for you there. Now, I've run into a little bit of a problem. The sensor values for all 5 of my sensors are 1023. This means that the full 5 volts are going straight back into the Arduino, and hence the potential divider isn't working. So to fix this problem, I'm going to increase the resistance in the potential divider from 4.7k to 100k. I know it's a big increase, but hopefully this will help and make the project a little bit more accurate. Now it's really hard to test the glove whilst it's on because it's really hard to move your fingers individually. So to test it properly, I'm going to move all the fingers whilst it's still on the table. And once you've done that, we can put on the glove and we're good to go. Okay, so that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. This has to be one of the coolest projects I've done on this channel. That being said, next time is going to be even cooler, because part 2 of this mini-series, I'm going to actually be making the robotic arm for this glove to control. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, and if you want to see the next installment, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.